Hey everyone, welcome to the Tip in Maple Leafs podcast. This is episode 223. And coming up on this one, what's the latest on Mitch Marner? Could we see a trade this week? Or are the Leafs seriously interested in giving this guy a contract extension? July 1st is right around the corner. We'll look ahead at some things they could be working on, some things they got cooking. And Dale, well, he thinks he has the answer for the Leafs in net. All this and more coming up on 223 of the Tip In podcast.
Reputation around the league for Treliving is that he's always a bridesmaid, but never a bride. We'll explain right after this. Let's hit the intro.
Hey, welcome to the Tip in Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
So, we're going to talk some Leafs. Last podcast, we went deep on the Cougars and Oilers. Not this one.
No.
Not this one.
So,
where do you want to start?
Well, like I said, no, I want to start with Tree. Like I said in the beginning, in the intro there, reputation around the league for Brad Treliving is that always a bridesmaid, never a bride. So, what I mean by that is you always hear Tree's in on everything. He's in on everything. Okay, he's in on everything. Great. But what the fuck does he actually do? It's great to be in on everything, but what are you actually doing, Brad? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Missing out on some big deals. We're going to get to the goalie conversation here later on. But let's just say this off the top, Chad, and then you let me know your thoughts on this. Tree, so far, has in the offseason, and I know it's technically just beginning, but there has been moves that have been made around the league so far. Treliving hasn't done anything, not one single thing. Okay, sure, they hired a new coach. Great. Hasn't signed one of their UFAs, hasn't signed one of their RFAs, has not made a trade. So does that make sense? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride? Like,
he signed Joseph Wall.
Not yet.
Well, but I don't think it can't be announced until later.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, so there's one, but like, and
I know exactly what you're saying.
I want to talk about the goalies.
You're right. Everyone always says that. They're like, he is a hard-working guy. He calls everybody. He's in on everything. He wants to know. But I agree. Great. That's awesome. What are you doing?
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, do something.
Like, what are you doing, man? So for me, it's just a little like, okay, it's great. Like, it's great to be in on things. Great. But like, you didn't get one of the top two big goalies available. You still haven't signed. Okay, Joseph Wall, we'll get to the goalies shortly. But for me, it's just a little underwhelming. And, we're approaching July 1st. So we'll see what happens in free agency. And we've still got the remainder of the summer to go trade-wise. So we'll see what this guy's got up his sleeve. I hope it's something, because this team can't fucking win. So standing pat, we're like a little bit more of like patchwork around the core. Is that what we're looking at here again? You can take that and lead it into Mitch if you want.
Well, I think that is kind of that's what we're going to see. I think he's going to try to do what he did last year. He's going to try to get bigger, stronger around the edges.
Like, that seems to be the winning recipe, right?
No. But what do you like? It's such a difficult year cap-wise. Like, I know the cap's going up, but guys are getting raises this year.
Yeah, that money's goes right to Nylander and Austin. Boom, done.
Yeah, and like, if he doesn't trade Mitch, then all you can do is tinker around the edges. Like, if Mitch won't go, if he wants to play with the last year, which is his right, you got to tinker around the edges. And then we'll hear all season now, he's calling everybody. He's in on everything. Great. Absolutely wonderful, Brad.
why don't you lead us off with the Marner conversation? Because I've got thoughts. I'd like to hear yours. Floor is yours. You start with the Mitch situation.
I'll say this. There have been conflicting reports on Mitch Marner. So you have Darren Dreger has come out and basically said he wants to stay. He's going to play out the last year of his contract. And the team, not only did he say that, he said the team wants to extend him, or they're thinking about giving him a contract extension. But there's also been reports from other guys that have said that they've approached him and Mitch is thinking about leaving the Leafs. Now, I will say this: back when
how can there be such conflicting reports?
Well, back when Marner was negotiating his contract, if you remember, there was kind of a stigma attached to Darren Dreger that he was almost like working for the Marner camp, because he said all these things that he did this, he said all the good things about Mitch Marner and his dad and everything, and it didn't really turn out that way. And people are kind of like, is he doing it again? Is he kind of, is he saying the things they want the media to say to see how the fans react to it?
Is Dreger buddies with Paul?
I have no idea. But you have someone of that magnitude in the hockey world say these things, and then you kind of judge on how the wave hits out to all the fans. Are people like, oh, it'd be good if he extends and maybe we can use JT's extra money in the offseason? Or a fan's like, fuck no. You kind of get a sense of it. That's what I feel like. But
I think it's conflicting.
There have been more reports that he's seriously thinking about giving a list of teams.
Okay.
Dreger's the only one that said they want to extend him and he's staying.
Okay. That's true. How much weight does that have over some of the other guys? I know Frank Sarabelli thinks differently and whatever. There's some guys thinking differently.
Yeah. Chris Johnson reported that he said that he thinks he'll play out the year, but that there's a strong possibility he will give a list of teams, but that if the Leafs don't get a trade they want, they'll just keep him on the roster.
I was hearing that Berube potentially wants to see what he can do with him and all that. So I get all those things, but
that was Dreger reporting that.
Okay. But
that never came from anybody on the Leafs.
Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, he plays. Okay. They can't get a deal done or he won't accept a trade. He plays out the final year. He goes to UFA. It doesn't sound to me. Treliving spoke recently saying remember last summer, Chad, where he was all about our top priorities, Willie, Austin, getting deals done. Those words have not come out of his mouth about Mitch.
He was very vague. He was very vague. I know what you're talking about.
So to me, that's if he really wanted to sign Mitch, you'd think he'd be talking about it. So I don't know, if he does want to or if he doesn't want to. But my bottom line here,
I don't think you can.
My bottom line here I'll sum it up in these two things about Mitch Marner. For me, this what I personally think. They don't have the money to sign him. If you want to be a team that can legitimately win, that money needs to go elsewhere. You look at Florida, who just won, and their blue line, and just guys making a lot less than we're going to have a fourth forward making 11 plus. He's already 10.9. He already basically makes 11, but you're going to give Mitch 11.5. I think a contract extension for Mitch Marner, I think it's crazy on a short-term deal, a long-term deal. I plain and simple don't want Mitch on the team anymore. Not because I don't like Mitch Marner as a hockey player. I think he's a great hockey player. My kind of last straw with Mitch was in the first round against Boston when he threw the fucking temper tantrum on the bench. That's not a Stanley Cup fucking winner, man. And Mitch might go somewhere and win a cup as a role player and whatever. Phil Kessel did it. Why can't I'm sure Mitch could go on to win the cup, but is he going to be a key contributor to, and he might, maybe I'll eat my words, but I've seen enough here with this guy where my mind is made up. I don't need to see a tantrum on the fucking bench in the playoffs because it's not going your way. Come on, man. So
I get what you're saying.
I've dealt with this Marner situation, and it's not all on Mitch, and we've said that before. I'm not pointing the finger at Mitch specifically.
All the cards were dealt that it landed that the fans were fed up and completely done the year that he is the guy with 1 year left on his contract.
He's the one.
If he had the extension,
up.
if he had the extension and Nylander had the 1 year, we'd be talking we might be talking a little differently about keeping him. But if he was the guy, we'd be like, you got to get rid of him because we just need to break up this core.
Yeah, but man, am I glad it didn't go that way. Because you look at what Nylander's become, and
even if they are thinking of extending him, like even if Drager's right, the reason Treliving's not going to say anything because they would be out of their mind to not make him play out the season and prove to them, not in the regular season.
Go
get your 100 points. But if you want 12.5 million, be the best fucking player in the playoffs and win a round. Win 2 rounds. Win 3 rounds.
You're right. They would be out of their mind if they extend this guy this summer. No way. No way.
The Leafs have I said this a couple podcasts ago. They have a tendency to fall in love with guys on hot streaks, and I hate it. They did it with Nylander. He was having a career year, and they're like, boom, here's your contract. Way to go.
Yes.
For once in this organization's life, make a guy sweat it out just a little bit. Make him play all the way, not to the fucking end of the regular season. Make him prove it in the playoffs before he gets a contract. Everybody just gets a fucking contract on this team for nothing.
You imagine an extension with a no trade. Like, I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind if they decide to go down that path.
He comes out in September, October, and he has like 40 points. Like, he's just on a tear, and they just extend him right away.
No, big mistake. It would be a big mistake. So
I can tell you this: Treliving's on the phone right now because he calls. He's in on everything.
I'm sure he is.
Talks to everybody.
Viva Las Vegas, baby. They're at the Sphere right now. That's just getting ready to rock and roll here for the weekend. But or whatever, Saturday here. whenever we're recording this.
We're recording this Friday, but
yeah.
I know what you're saying. The Sphere is going.
Yeah. So anyway, look, just with the Mitch thing, for me, it's like I don't have anything against Mitch personally. I don't like his personality. Yes, good player. The tantrum on the bench showed no leader. How this guy has an A on his sweater, no leadership skills. To me,
because his buddy has an A on his sweater.
Okay, so then
if he has an A on his sweater, I gotta have an A on his sweater.
Nylander,
if this guy got $12 million, I need $12 million.
Nylander showed more leadership in the 2 games he came back and played, or he came back for 5, 6, and 7.
The only fucking person on the team who scores in clutch games. Only one.
Exactly. But to have the leadership on the bench to be like, dude, stop crying. Like, just fucking play. Like, stop. Yeah, like, let's go. So for me, I'm done with Mitch Marner. If he stays, and I don't want to see a contract extension, that's first and foremost. But if he decides to play out the year thinking like, oh, I can change my game under Berube, and maybe he has a good playoff, like, and they go on a run and like he does something like a really special, the only thing that would possibly me considering to change my mind. But I still think the money's going to be too rich, and I just don't think they can win with Mitch Marner. I don't think they can win with the current makeup. The money needs to be allocated elsewhere, especially on the defense. So for me,
no, you're right.
It's a no. It's for me, it's contract extension. Fucking forget it, man. Like, no way. No more of this half-ass bullshit with anybody
on the Leafs. No more of it. I don't care. I don't care if you score 69 goals. I don't care if, you win a round. Like, if Mitch has a really good first round and they win, don't fall in love with him again. Did he give you the cup? It's fucking cup.
No, it can't be just one. It can't be. It's got to be deep. It's got to be.
This team. He could have like just an incredible first round, and they upset the Florida Panthers in the first round.
Okay, so Keith Pelly's like not doing. He's saying we're not doing that anymore. Like,
it's the Leafs. That's what they do.
I know, but remember Pelly saying good enough is not good enough anymore. So we'll see where. Well, I know,
but words are bullshit.
No, I know it's just words. So we'll see what happens here. But
I just don't want that. I want them to like actually. Marner comes, he's like, oh, look, I got 14 points in the first round of the playoffs. Like, I'm worth this and this. And they're like, did you win a cup?
No.
Do we have a Stanley Cup down the hall? No? Okay. Well, then, no, you're not getting your fucking $12.5 million.
No, it can't. It can't just be one round. And look how hard it is to win. Look what we just saw for the last 2 months. Edmonton, Florida, many other teams as well. But
great teams that were
Dallas, like Colorado, like come on.
Teams that are head and shoulders better than the Leafs in the playoffs.
God,
that couldn't get it done. And you're telling me, like, I don't know.
A 2-month run.
Look at all the right wingers in the playoffs that were fucking phenomenal. And tell me, how many of those right wingers would you rather over Mitch Marner right now? Like, not for a regular season, for a playoff run.
Do you have a list?
No, I don't have a list in front of me, but like, just
I would choose most of them.
You could go through any team and you can look at their right wingers, and yeah, they might not be as skilled as Mitch, but you'd be like, I'm taking him on a playoff run any day over Mitch. And yet Mitch will get paid more than he'll get paid more than all of them.
The guys making half the money, and I would have rather had 18 from the Oilers on this team.
Yes.
And I know the Leafs have lost in seasons past with Hyman on the team as well, but Hyman's just become better and better. I don't know. It's like I'd take Hyman over Marner right now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we don't know, but like, I'm leaning very hard into the camp that is like I'm not in the middle. I'm not on the fence here. I've made up my mind. Made my personal decision is made. I want to see this. I don't want to see Mitch Marner on the team anymore. It's as simple as that. I want a different look. I just want a different look. That's it. I want to try something different. That's it.
No more Mitch Marner on the team. And I personally would like to see more girls showing their tits at the games.
Oh fuck, you gotta go past one round for that, brother.
I think okay. I just thought maybe like with all these new jerseys coming out, I think we should have one girl from every city. Best cans wins.
I like your way of thinking, but that didn't happen in Edmonton until Game 6 of the conference final.
I know, but why can't we just get it going every Saturday night?
Yeah, you're not
right. Like, you know what? Tonight, it's Anaheim's turn. Give us your best.
We've been trying to get it going with the intro of this podcast for quite some time now.
I know.
But, hey, so we were a little ahead of the
We showed nudity once on this, and YouTube didn't like it.
I don't recall that.
We showed a photo. This was years ago. We showed a photo in this podcast. I think the episode got taken down, but we showed a photo of something. We were doing one of our things that were not hockey topics, like top 5 porn stars or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it got taken down.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Back in the day when we used to do all kinds of stuff like that.
When we were younger.
We've gotten away from that a bit, but I think it might be coming back hard.
I think we should just start a separate podcast where that's all it is. And if you like that, you can come join us on that podcast.
Might happen. Okay, so anyway, anything else on Mitch, or just it is what it is? We'll wait and see what happens.
It is what it is. And the only thing I'll say is that, like, if I'm Mitch Marner, I'm reading the room, right? Like,
he doesn't do a good job at that.
I don't
look at all his exit interviews. The guy can't read the room. All we want is accountability. Has he ever fucking faced it?
No, and I just think, like, I don't know. I would love to see for the first time, I said it, like, make them sweat. I would love to see this management put a little pressure on these guys. Like, be mean to them. Force one of them into a corner. Force one of them to have such a shitty time that he's like, I want out. Make the other ones be like, ugh, brother, ugh. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Yep, I do. Okay, so.
Won't happen, but.
Well, we'll see with Berube. I mean, it will be different.
I'm talking about management. I'm talking about, like,
I know.
Not all sunshine and roses and contracts and we love you and let's bring back the band.
But, like, the day-to-day with Sheldon Keefe compared to what it's going to be like with Berube, I think it's going to be drastically different. Like, we're talking old school here.
Chief.
Chief is going to, like, I think it's going to be very interesting how he manages the whole situation. Well, speaking of that, I guess we might as well go here because we're talking about coaching. Leafs hired Mark Savard as the final assistant coach. So it's Lane Lambert, Savard, Mike Van Ryan, I believe is his name, and Berube to round out the coaching staff. They kept the goalie coach, and they kept the guys upstairs that do, like, the,
for now,
calling offsides and goalie interference and shit.
Those guys do an amazing job.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the best in the league at it. So yeah, just any quick thoughts on, like, Guy Boucher out. I can't remember the other guy's name.
I said it before. Like I never really understood Guy Boucher's always kind of been known. Like he's never been known as an offensive coach. And
did you know he wanted to be in the name, like in the running to be the head coach?
Yeah, he was in the running to be the head coach before Sheldon Keefe, right?
That's yes, that is true. But I'm talking after Keefe got fired, Guy Boucher wanted to be like, I don't know. Okay.
If they had done that, fans would have lost their shit. But he was always a defensive coach. Like I remember him as a defensive coach. So the fact he was running your power play was kind of weird. And I like the fact that Mark Savard, he ran a good power play in St. Louis, an okay power play in Calgary, but his whole history of it being a player was a power play specialist.
Yeah, you finally got an offensive guy fucking doing it.
Like an offensive brain. Like I just never thought of Guy Boucher as a guy, an offensive guy. He always seemed like, maybe I'm wrong on this, but do you not look at him and think, oh, he's a guy who would play the trap 24/7? He seems like that type of guy.
Absolutely. Shut it down. But Mark Savard, younger guy, so maybe some fresh ideas. He's going to have to come in here being like, man, why hasn't it been working with this type of talent? So I think this is probably the right guy. And, basically Berube's putting the fucking St. Louis band back together here. Minus Lambert.
To redo it.
Like, he had Van Ryn in St. Louis. He had Savard in St. Louis. Like, other than Lambert, which Lambert looks like a fucking pain in the ass too. Like Lamorel, all you need to know about
Lambert looks like he's killed a man or two.
All you need to know about Lane Lambert.
He looks like a soprano.
All you need to know about Lambert is that Lamorello hired him in Long Island. Yeah. That's all you need to know.
That's exactly what he looks like. He looks like a thug from Long Island. So I wouldn't cross Lambert.
No. So it should be, those practices should be fucking fun as hell. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so it's good to see that, like, I'm glad they didn't keep Boucher, and I'm glad that they, like, basically are a fresh start behind the bench.
Good start. Let's get a fresh start on the ice.
No, I know, but the coaching staff really needed to change. Like, it needed to change. So I just think that is a step in the right direction. Many more things need to change.
Are you going to tell us what your plan is for the goalie?
Yeah, let's go there right now. So
everybody's waiting.
Okay, so you said off the top, looks like there's a contract extension in place for Joseph Woll.
Yeah, they've reported, Elliot Friedman reported it. It's a 4-year contract. I forget what the number is.
3.5 or 4, somewhere in there.
Yeah. But
do you think that's kind of crazy? Do you think that's kind of crazy for a guy who can't stay healthy?
I think it's stupid.
How about maybe 2.5? You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying with the Leafs. It's everybody gets a contract. Everybody gets the money. Everybody gets everything, and you don't do shit. The guy's played. I love Joseph Woll.
Me too.
But he's played like 40 games total in his career.
$3.54 million. I'm sorry. Like,
you're basically betting that this guy's going to be your number one goalie.
What would convince you of that?
That's what I'm saying. Like me, we're on the same page, man. We would have been like, look, you can't stay
healthy.
I know. You're going on 1 or 2 year contracts until you can show us that you can stay healthy, but not the Leafs. No. Here's 4 years, my friend.
So going back to Treliving for a second here before I bring out my solution to the problem.
I want to know this.
So he couldn't get the Markstrom. Markstrom goes to, isn't it funny, Sheldon Keefe. So now all of a sudden
Sheldon Keefe has a better goalie than he ever had in Toronto.
Of course. So like they couldn't get the Markstrom trade was like, there's nothing there that Calgary, other than it being Calgary. That's why the trade didn't happen.
But you know what?
Treliving was in on it.
He was in on it. I think Darren Dreger, again, speaking of Dreger, I think Darren Dreger said he was runner-up.
If he would have put, apparently if he would have put the first round pick in, they could have got him.
He was the maid of honor.
Would you have done that?
Yeah.
Would you have included the first round pick to get Markstrom?
This year's first round pick?
Yes.
Are they going to retain the salary like they did for Jersey? Because I mean, you're basically paying Joseph Woll the same money that you'd be paying Markstrom.
I know, but at least you got a guy that can fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're going to retain the $2 million like they did, and you're only paying them $4 million, then yeah, I'd probably give up the first round.
They probably wouldn't retain because they just have a fucking piss on for out in Calgary for Treliving. Like they're just Treliving might as well not even pick up the phone for fucking just why bother?
Dale, he can't do that. He's in on everything.
That's true. Well, here's one thing he wasn't in on. Allmark going to Ottawa because Linus Allmark says Toronto, thanks, but no thanks. Not interested in going to play for the Leafs. What the fuck do you think that specifically was about? The Leafs were on his no trade list, but the Sens fucking weren't. The Sens haven't touched the playoffs in fucking forever.
Oh, dude,
but he'd rather go and play in Ottawa than
there's a million reasons for that. There's a million reasons. And right off the top of my head, like, if you're a guy who doesn't like the bullshit media storm in Toronto, I'd go to Ottawa.
Ottawa's not much better.
Think of this. If you're thinking of it as a Leaf
fan, shit all over corporate.
Let's say you're a football player, or let's say you're a Major League Baseball player, right? But you're from Canada. Okay. You have no love for the New York Yankees or whatever. Yeah. And you see, like, playing in New York, that's the biggest market, but holy shit, like, it's 24/7 Yankees, cameras in your face all the time. And then they're like, hey man, I'll pay you the same money. You can go live in Milwaukee.
Yep.
And they won't fucking know who you are, and you can hide under the radar and make the same amount of money.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, but like, if you have no tie,
I know
tie to the city, you'd be like, okay. If you're that type of guy where you don't want that shit.
No,
I think that's what it was about.
But doesn't it just piss you off a little bit that, like, the Leafs were, like, on his note? Like, that just is odd to me. But
yeah, but you know what? There's probably a lot of, like, Ontario-born goalies where the Leafs would be on the list. They want to play here. They grew up here. He's got to find a goalie.
Anyway, so he misses out on Markstrom and he misses out on Allmark. Well, he couldn't have got Allmark, but anyway, so there you go. And both those goalies, well, Allmark stays in the East, but now he's still in the Atlantic with Ottawa, so they get a little bit better. And Markstrom to New Jersey, who is going to solidify their net, and probably New Jersey will get back on track. So it looks like they're going to be like free agent hunting with Brossoit or Stolars or whatever the guy's name is from Florida. It looks like that's what they're going to do as like a tandem or a backup, and they're going to hope that Joseph Woll can do it and stay healthy. That is a hard, like a tall task, I would say. So I think the answer in net here is real simple. Real simple. Treliving, one guy that will pick up the phone immediately, and he'll come down on the cheap. And we're talking about our old buddy Murdog, Matt Murray, getting back in the mix with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Matt Murray coming back to the Leafs on the absolute cheap to just stick it in everyone's face, and he's just going to have an absolutely light. He regains his number one form. Okay, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I don't want the Leafs to sign Matt Murray. That was a joke. But it looks like it's going to be, unless there's a trade coming. I don't, Talbot, Saros, is that going to happen? I don't really, maybe anything, it could still happen. But is it not kind of looking more and more like it's going to be Brossoit from Winnipeg, or it's going to be Stolars from, if I'm saying that correct, from Florida? Like, is it not looking more and more like that?
It looks like that's what they're targeting. They're targeting like a 1A, 1B. They're targeting like a tandem that can literally split 50-50 down the middle.
That's tough, man.
I would rather, like, I'm old school. I would rather have the number one stud and the backup who plays a little bit. That's how I would love it.
Okay, so we'll see what happens in that. I'll go out on this one, Chad, with you, and we'll be.
I got one thing.
Okay.
Something I saw earlier. Have you seen this floating around? The 2018 Buffalo Sabres roster?
How many of them went on to win Stanley Cups?
I thought this was like, now that Reinhart and Rodriguez and
Eichel.
Eichel, Reinhart, Rodriguez,
Montour used to play there.
Montour's on the team. Linus Allmark was on the team.
Well, he didn't win though.
No, I know, but like, just the whole, if you look at the lineup, go look at the 2018 Sabres and tell me how that team did not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Jake McCabe was on that team. The Leaf himself. Tage Thompson. Crazy. Like, the roster's stacked, and
it is.
It's crazy to think.
It is crazy.
Someone Buffalo.
So we're getting ready to go July 1st here in a couple days. We'll be back, I believe, that night, Canada Day, to do a little recap to see if Treliving finally became a bride, or if he's still sniffing around bridesmaid territory. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, can't shoot it all out there on July 1st, but you can help. I mean,
he'll be in on everything. Okay,
so going to throw this to you. I don't know if you saw it from earlier today, but I'll go out on this. So the Leafs reported, Jonas Siegel and James Myrtle were reporting, Chad. I'll just get your thoughts on this. Just going back to what we were saying here quickly. The Leafs were runners up for Markstrom before he was traded to New Jersey. Their first round pick, apparently the Leafs first round pick was part of the offer. Still not good enough. Okay, great.
So they just didn't want to do business with Toronto.
Calgary's basically just like, fuck you, Treliving, and that's the end of that. Going into free agency now. Chris Tanev is the Leafs' top choice. This is Siegel and Myrtle. These guys know what they're talking about. Chris Tanev is the Leafs' top choice for free agent defenseman on July 1st. Leafs also interested in defenseman Matt Roy, despite his asking price of potentially $6 million AAV. Leafs like the following options for free agent forwards: David Perron, Dakota Joshua, and Jake DeBrusk. Perron and Joshua both played under Berube in St. Louis. Unless something changes in the coming days, both Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi likely headed to the free agent market on July 1st. Thoughts on anything I just said there?
Don't try and be the 2019 St. Louis Blues.
No, but a couple like Perron's a hell of a player. He's a feisty
still in 2024.
Great year last year in Detroit. Perron is a good fucking hockey player.
I'm okay with stuff like that. I'm okay, but again, Dale.
Yep.
Don't fall in love with the fringes.
No, I know. Of course.
Let's blow up the middle of this team. Let's do something with the core, because we do this every year. Hey,
I'm just saying,
he's a great player.
They've got to sign people. They've got to.
They definitely have to sign people. Yeah, but I would rather, like, I don't know. I want to see something different. I don't want to see this. Hey, we're going and getting these guys. They won cups before. They're going to play third and fourth. Like, I just want to see. I want to see a blockbuster.
You think Domi and Bertuzzi are both walking? Because I now think that they probably are.
Yeah, I don't think the Leafs want to pay them what they want.
No.
And
so
that's
can you
Max
get Perron
Domi
cheaper? Can you get Joshua cheaper?
Yeah.
Can you get DeBrusk cheaper?
Listen,
possibly.
Guys come to Toronto because it leads to a big contract. Like, Domi might want to stay and take a little bit less because he likes the city, but for Bertuzzi's looking to get paid. He came to Toronto. He's
going to.
That's what happens. Guys come to Toronto, you get all the spotlight on you, and then you land a big deal. Like, the fact that fucking Steve Yzerman gave Justin Hall that contract.
Insane.
Just goes to show you the Toronto effect. So Bertuzzi's going to get paid more.
And look, Bertuzzi and Domi had okay years. Not great.
But it's the Toronto effect. It's like, because you're talked about so much in the media and your highlights are shown, all of a sudden you kind of like rise to the top of the crop.
The cream always rises to the top. Baby.
I wish I had that clip. I used to have it. I would play it right now. Macho Man. But that's what I'm saying. It's the Toronto effect. So then you got to go out, and they do this every year. You got to go out and find more guys like that, which they're going to do. But aren't you just hoping for like that fucking move where you're like, wow.
Yeah.
This is a totally different team. That's what I want.
Me too, Chad. Me too. But probably unlikely. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Well, listen, everybody, for the Tip in Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget that Dale said it right here on record. He wants Matt Murray back in the pipes next year. He doesn't care.
We're running out of options here, brother.
Leave your comments below on what you think of that. And don't forget
options, man.
It's Mike Daly Music. Tag Mike Daly Music.
No.
Anyway, for the Tip in Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Tip in Maple Leafs podcast, on Twitter at Tip in Pod, TikTok, Tip in Podcast, email us tipinpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
We will.
Hey, guys, we'll see you July 1st. Chad and I will be back to cover whatever Treliving decides to do on July 1st, whether it's something big or nothing at all. We'll see. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please like this video on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And hopefully Treliving can get something done in free agency on July 1st. And I was joking about the Matt Murray thing.
I know. If you listen to the episode, you know you're joking.
Thanks again, guys. All right. We'll see you July 1st. Hopefully Treliving's got something big up his sleeve.
We know he's in on it.
Oh, he's going to be in on everything, of course. All right, guys. We'll catch you later.
Catch you later.